All right, we've all been there. You're just living your life, laughing with friends, eating a great meal, and then, bam, hic. That strange, involuntary jolt just completely takes over. It's got to be one of the most common and, let's be honest, annoying things our bodies do. So what on earth is actually happening?
Yeah, that's the big question we're tackling. What is that sound? Why does it feel so random? Well, it turns out there's a fascinating and actually surprisingly ancient story behind that simple hic.
Okay, so let's get right into it. To really get what a hiccup is, you kind of have to think of it as a temporary glitch in your body's breathing system.
It all starts with this huge dome-shaped muscle you have called the diaphragm. It sits right below your lungs, and most of the time, it's the hero of your breathing, just moving up and down, super smooth, kind of like a calm, predictable elevator, pulling air in and pushing it out. No drama.
But what happens when that calm little elevator gets a sudden, unexpected jolt? See, the nerves that control it can get irritated, and that's when the entire system just goes haywire.
And it all happens in this lightning-fast chain reaction. First, that irritated diaphragm totally spasms. It pulls down way too fast. This causes a sudden rush of air to get sucked into your throat. But almost instantly, your vocal cords slam shut. Imagine a door slamming right in the face of that incoming air. And that slam, that's the hic sound we all know. So, if it's all about irritating that diaphragm muscle, what are the things in our daily lives that are actually doing the irritating? You're probably going to recognize a lot of these. Eating your favorite food a little too quickly, chugging a fizzy drink, or even just getting a sudden burst of excitement or nervousness. Yep, that can do it. Even something as simple as chewing gum and swallowing air, or a sudden temperature change, like going from hot soup to ice-cold water, can be enough to trigger that glitch.
But here's where this story gets really weird. What if I told you that this annoying little glitch isn't a mistake at all, but it's actually an echo from our deepest, most ancient past?
This theory is just incredible. Scientists actually believe hiccups could be a leftover reflex from our evolutionary ancestors. We're talking creatures that were living in water, like amphibians. That involuntary spasm might have actually served a really critical purpose millions and millions of years ago. So it's super important to understand this isn't just some random twitch. You can think of it as a fossil reflex, an ancient piece of biological code that we just never got rid of. It's a little piece of evolutionary history buried right inside your own body.
So, what was its original job? Well, for those ancient amphibians, this reflex probably helped them push water over their gills while closing off the path to their lungs so they wouldn't drown. And today, the reflex might still be useful. In babies, it's thought to help them get rid of extra air from their stomachs while they're feeding, which lets them take in more milk.
Okay, so after that wild trip back in evolutionary time, let's bring it back to the present with some truly amazing facts about hiccups, and of course, the age-old question, how do you get rid of them?
First up, the world record. And no, that is not a typo. A man named Charles Osborne reportedly hiccuped continuously for 68 years, from 1922 all the way to 1990. Can you even imagine? Suddenly, a 5-minute bout of hiccups doesn't seem so bad, does it? And there's more. At their peak, hiccups can happen up to once a second. And it's not just us. Dogs, cats, horses, they all get them. This reflex is so deep-seated that babies even do it in the womb. But maybe the weirdest fact of all? Sometimes just hearing or thinking about hiccups is enough to make you start. So, sorry if that just happened to you.
This, of course, is the million-dollar question, right? When you're stuck in that hiccup loop, all you want to know is how to make it stop.
And wow, has humanity come up with some creative solutions. You know them. Holding your breath, drinking from the far side of a glass, getting a sudden scare. The whole idea behind most of these is to interrupt or reset those nerve signals that are making the diaphragm go crazy. But what's the most reliable cure? Honestly, for your average case of the hiccups, it's often just patience. If you can relax and just stop focusing on them, they almost always go away on their own in a few minutes. So, the next time you get them, just remember that ancient tadpole reflex living inside you. And with that, I'll leave you with a final question. What's your go-to can't-fail trick for stopping a case of the hiccups? I'd love to know. Thanks for tuning in.